Hey, how's it going guys? I'm Ruse and welcome back to my channel. I hope you are doing well. For this week deck showcase, I'm going to show you a deck that I stole from a guy that I fought in the last stream rank fight. I'm going to tell you now. This deck is stupid expensive. It has no reason to be this expensive, but man, does it feel good when you pull it off because the opponent will never expect it. I'm not gonna tease you too much, so let's jump into the deck rundown, shall we? The playstyle of this deck is a bit different from my previous Onikiri build. This build is focused more on building up stats using Fujihime and Inugami. Then if your Kawazaru or Onikiri has gotten big enough, they can just steamroll anything that stands in their way. Kawazaru in this deck is pretty crucial. Not only she is important for copying stats, she can also heal us by a huge amount using her scattered paper. For Onikiri, his ratio is pretty much the same like always, but this time we use his level 1 form instead of the level 2 because this deck uses a lot of orbs. And the reason the level 1 form works better for this deck is because we can use Fujihime or Kawazaru to give him that extra stats that he needs to counter your opponent. And normally I would bring his level 3 trigger card, but nowadays there's a lot of scary evolve cards and spells running around, so I bring his level 2 trigger cards instead. For Fujihime ratio, this is pretty much the perfect ratio for her, and if you want to change something, you can change Mysterious Echo to some other cards that you like. And for Inugami, that level 1 tuition form is actually really good for our early game play. Most of the time you want to use it to boost Onikiri because he is our main damage dealer. And here's the card priority list. For high priority, we definitely want Avenging Blade. This is the key to our strategy because with this form, we can take our time building up stats while Onikiri counters the opponent. But you only want to use this form when you already buff Onikiri's stats or when you have his trigger card. And then we have Dojo of Heart. This is another good card to have. With this, Onikiri can counter even harder on the opponent's turn because this card will give him the attack boost every time your Shikigami attack, even on the opponent's turn. Then we have Fujihime Evolve. This is the most important card in this deck. It will make her invocation move around, and if it lands on Kawazaru or Onikiri, there's nothing that can stand in your way. And Kawazaru Evolve is good to have in your starting hand because after you evolve her, you can get a free draw every turn without using an orb. And switching up her stats every turn can benefit you when you're using her cards like Scattered Paper. For the optional choice, it's mostly our control cards, except Monkey Business. We only want to use this when Fujihiro is on Kawazaru. Then you use this to give stats to either Onikiri or Fujihime. If you give it to Onikiri, he will counter pretty much anything under the sun. If you give it to Fujihime, she can live longer, and her stats can get ridiculously big when she has Fujihiro. People don't realize this, but I think Scattered Paper is a broken card. It's a really high snipe card with heals. You can easily, very easily deal 6+ damage and heal at least 3 damage every time you activate this card. And if Kawazaru has Fujihiro, it can even go higher than that. I once healed for a good 15 health from this card. Then we have Heartless Strike. This is a great card to either stun the opponent safely or you can just use the origin version and get a +4 combat card. It's a really flexible card, it's always handy to have. And Oni Blade Rashomon is super relevant today because how many powerful spells available, and with this card not only you kill that Shikigami but also negate that spell if you kill that Shikigami. And for the finisher, of course, we have Onikiri Evolve. This will help you gain more slashes if the slash you pick last turn goes unused. But that situation rarely comes up, so you most likely use it to get the level 3 combat cards so that you can get a direct attack. Then we have Imitate. This can come in handy when you need that one more push to finish off your opponent. Or you could use this to make your Kawazaru health higher and put her in the combat zone as your emergency blocker. It can go either way, but you mostly want to use this as a finisher. And lastly, we have Immemorial. Once you activate this card, it's pretty much game over for your opponent because that Fujihiro ain't going nowhere. And will only get bigger unless they can defeat Fujihime and the field. And that's about it for the deck rundown. I'm having the most fun using this deck in ranked. This deck is more on the expensive side, but that goes to any meme deck in Onmyoji. You could add Kawazaru SSR and take out one monkey business, but I don't think it's really necessary because the only important Shikigami that you want to copy the stats is Onikiri. But it would be really funny to see your opponent shit their pants when you copy Kawazaru stats with Fujihiro. I did try using the SSR and I have like 17 stats Shikigami all over and the opponent just straight up surrenders. But anyway, it's more fun seeing it in action than explaining it, so let's move on with the replays. So for our first matchup is up against Poison. Oh man, how the great have fallen in just one card adjustment. Well, this one is going to be a pretty easy matchup because Poison playstyle is pretty predictable and they don't have exactly the biggest stats, so as long as you play your Onikiri right, you are going to be fine. For our first hand, we really want to dig for Fujihime Evolve or Onikiri form, but Dojo of Heart and Kawazaru Evolve is okay too because we can use it to put pressure on the opponent and get free draws later. For our first turn, we usually want to level up either Fujihime or Onikiri as our first level up so they can start their invocation. This time we level up Fujihime, then attack with Onikiri, leaving one orb for trigger. It's a shame that we have to waste a trigger this early, but that will also force them to rethink their strategy. On their turn, they will put the draw form on Mushichi, then of course try to attack with Sasori, but they will have to eat the trigger card and pass. For the first few turns until they reach level 2, we can just pick Mustache Slash because they will just try to assault normally. Next, we level up Inugami to activate Dojo of Heart, then assault with Onikiri again. He will get a power boost and we pass. That boost will also apply when our Onikiri activates his slash on the opponent's turn, by the way. On their turn, they will activate Dark Remedy to revive their Sasori Onna, then just assault using her. Our Onikiri will counter that, but we miss lethal by 1 point and they pass. On our turn, we will just evolve Kawazaru, then attack with Inugami to kill their Sasori. It's okay if he dies now because we can instantly revive him with our second Dojo of Heart. On their turn, they will evolve Kainin twice and poison both our Fujihime and Kawazaru. I think they are trying to set up for the next turn when they can wipe out our Shikigami. On our turn, since they didn't kill our Inugami, we can just activate our second Dojo of Heart. We activate Master Shape Shifter to switch Kawazaru stats, then attack directly for a whopping 9 damage and pass. So as long as we can keep pressuring them like this, it's going to be easy win for us. On their turn, they will just assault with Kainin, killing our monkey. That will give them a free draw and projectile 1 from Okiku. But they did not extend. Maybe the cards they drew are for Sasori Onna, I'm not sure, but we have to be careful. On our turn, we want to counter their next play, which is probably evolving cards. So we can counter that by activating 2 Way of Teacher, buffing our Shikigami, then activate Flickering Shadow to move Onikiri to the combat zone. With this, if they try to activate a spell or attack, we can very easily kill them. On their turn, as expected, they will try to evolve Sasori. Our Onikiri will counter that and kill their Sasori Onna. Then they will try to attack with Kainin, expecting to put a blocker, but we also counter that. Our Onikiri is critically damaged, but all of their main attackers are dead. On our turn, we put Hall of Flowers on Fujihime just so she can get that extra stats. Oh, by the way, if she is poisoned and you activate this form without boosting her stats, she will just die instantly, so be careful on that. But we are going to attack with Fujihime, dealing a huge 13 damage and pass. I highly doubt they have any outs for this situation, so on their turn they will evolve Mushishi, targeting our Fujihime. They will not gain the extra orbs because removing Fujihiro does not count as killing our Shikigami. After that, they will just make their Mushishi attack and pass. I think we can wrap this up this turn. On our turn, we activate Heart Sword to clear the way, then we switch Kawazaru stats and finish them off with the Monkey Flip. For our second match, this will be much more challenging because we are up against the top meta deck, Orochi Aggro. Yes, they got nerfed, but they still have more than enough power to bulldoze most deck in rank. This will be a very difficult match because they are a very aggressive deck while we are a control deck. So we have to be smart when using our Onikiri counter. Our hand is looking pretty good though because we got Fujihime Evolve and her form. They got the first turn and they already have Orochi as their starter, so this will be much more difficult for us. On our turn, we have to start with Onikiri so that he can gain his slash. We put the form on Fujihime, then activate Mysterious Echo to summon another servitor and get a draw. We are actually taking a huge gamble here. If they got Koroka's random projectile spell, this could be a very bad move for us. On that turn, they actually have the spell that will kill our Fujihime and critically damage our Servitor and Onikiri. Then attack with their Inugami because they want to have more snakes to prepare for their turn 2 assault. They also probably have Orochi's level 2 spell. On our turn, luckily we drew Avenging Blade, but first we are going to buff his stats with Inugami's Tuition, then put the form on him. With 3 attack, even if they try to attack with snakes, we should be able to counter them. On their turn, they will attack with Inugami first, we will counter that with Onikiri. But it turns out they also have Divine Shadows. All of their snake will gain haste and soaring and they will use both of them to take out our Onikiri. But that also means they are 2 Shikigami down. On our turn, we get a double level up. As much as I want to push for damage, we are getting low on cards. So we have to evolve Kawazaru so we can get a free door next turn. Then we just move Inugami as a blocker and pass. On their turn, they will put Yotohime as his R form, then activate Curse Blade Stealth. That will damage our Inugami, and then they will just assault with her to get rid of our Inugami. If we kill her, she will instantly switch ability and possibly snipe our last Shikigami. So the best move for now is to evolve Fujihime, then activate our last Mysterious Echo and Master Shapeshifter to draw cards and pass. On their turn, they will assault with Yotohime to get rid of our Servitor. Her ability will hit our Kawazaru sadly, but as long as our Fujihime is alive, we can still turn this around. At the start of our turn, the Fujihiro will move to Onikiri. That is just perfect, so we just assault with him, leaving 1 over trigger. We do not want our Onikiri to take damage, that's why we want to activate the trigger card. On their turn, they will activate Silence Prank. We will counter that with our trigger card. And because we use the trigger, our Onikiri will not take the projectile damage. Then they will use their Inugami to attack and pass. On our turn, we stats boost our Shikigami using Way of Teacher. Then just attack with our own Inugami to get rid of their Inugami. We need to save his combat card until we can actually push for damage. On their turn, they will activate Divine Flames of Wrath that they have been saving for quite a while. After that, they will assault using all of their Shikigami, dealing a total of 16 damage. And they also snipe our Onikiri with their Yotohime ability. This is looking pretty bad, isn't it? But we have nothing to fear because we just reached level 3 and with that we activate Immemorial, then assault with Kawazaru. We want to boost his stats so that on the next turn we can snipe and heal. On that turn, they activate Impure Power on Koroka Snake to get rid of our Fujihiro from Kawazaru. Then activate a second Impure Power, this time on Inugami Snake, and they will finish us off with the Yotohime snake and pass. I'm surprised they haven't finished us off if they got that kind of cards in their hand, but oh well. On our turn, we will revive our Inugami with Dojo of Heart, then just assault with him, removing their Yoto snake. Now, unless they have revive cards, they will just be our punching bag for the next 2 turns. And on their turn, it turns out they will just pass. Well, on our turn, we want to take our time setting up, so we evolve Onikiri. Then, the moment we try to assault with him, they will surrender, probably realizing what will happen for the next 2 turns. And that, my friend, is how you play the new Onikiri counter. Well, that's all for today's video. I certainly hope you enjoyed it. If you want to support the channel, I have Patreon and Ko-Fi links down below. And if you need more help or more guides on how to play the game, you can go to the Discord channel. There's a lot of beautiful and helpful people down there. But for now, see you on the next video. Bye!